We're now on the bottom of Ches Amud Aleph. So we had two psukim where it says mizovo. The first one was when it says that a zav of 2 re'iyos does not bring a carbon because it says mizovo, only from his zav of 3 re'iyos and not from one of 2. You could go on there, just go on there. And then we said, what about the pasuk talks about that a zav counts 7 days? It says mizovo from his zav. So the Gemara says that comes to include a zav of 2 re'iyos, that he needs to count Sheva. Now ask the Gemara, Balo Dinu, I don't understand. Why do I need a pasuk to say that what? That you need to count 7 when you're a zav of 2 re'iyos. I am metama mishkav moshav lo yeton sphere Sheva. If it's tumah enough to be metama moshav mishkav moshav, that's the tumah of sitting on the couch or on the seat from yesterday. That when you sit on everything from under him becomes tameh. That means he's really tameh. If he's really tameh as a zav, he should have to what? He should have to count shiva. You shouldn't have to need a pasuk to teach us that. Answers the Gemara, and we turn the daf to Chesma Beis. Shomeres yom keneged yom tochiach. We could prove that wrong from the case of Shomeres yom keneged yom. Not only could a man become a zav, a woman could become a zav. In between the periods when she is a nida, there's a period of 11 where she could either be a zava katana or a zava gedola. Zava katana means that she only saw once or twice. Zava gedola, she saw 3 times. So when she's a zava katana, specifically about a woman, she's called a shomeres yom keneged yom. She has to wait 1 day, 1 clean day, opposite what she saw, opposite the day that she saw. But in that case, tochiach, that proves us wrong, that our logic wrong. Why? Because in her tuma, shemitama mishkav umoshav, she does have the tuma of mishkav umoshav, ve'ena tuna sfira shiva, and she doesn't need to count 7. So we have a case that it is tuma and you don't count 7. Va'af atal titmal zeh. So therefore, you should not wonder shaf bi shemitama mishkav umoshav lo sfira shiva. You shouldn't think that a zav of 2 days should also have the same din, that it's metama mishkav moshav, but you don't count 7. Tamalomer mizovo. So it teaches us mizovo v'sofer, that mixes over v'sofer. That even if he's not a full, he didn't see 3 times, he only saw partially 2 times, mixes over v'sofer, he still counts 7 days. Limad al zav al shnei rios. This teaches us that a zav of 2 rios shato and sfira shiva, that he also has to count sfira shiva. Beautiful. We're up to the wide lines. It's hard Gemara, guys. Stay with me. Next week, in the near future, we're going to start speaking about Megillah. These are the Ein Bain, so it gets a little tricky. The next mission as well. Amalei Rav Papa Abaya. Rav Papa asked an obvious question to Abaya. In the previous pasuk of Mizovo, when it teaches us that a zav does not bring a carbon if he's only a zav of 2 re'iyos, it says Mizovo from his zav, only from one of 3, but not from a zav of 2. That comes to exclude. So my shnai mizovo de marbibe. Why in this second one of zav, when it says mizovo that you're going to count 7, that includes zav bal shtei rios. Umay shnai mizovo. Why in the previous mizovo from yesterday de mamayit be zav bal shtei rios? It's mamayit. Is mizovo a miyut? Does it exclude, or is it a ribui, or does it include? Amalei. So Abai said back to him, really it excludes. But here, by the case of counting 7 days, we know it includes. Because Isal Kadai Techai Lamute, Hudas, if you're going to tell me by the counting, by V'safer, that it's coming to exclude, Lishta Kramine, in such a case, you don't need it to exclude, because the Pasuk would have just been quiet and not said that you count. And if the Pasuk says you don't count, what don't you do? If the Pasuk doesn't say you count, we have no reason to think that you're going to count. So therefore, we need the extra pasuk in Mizovo to include that you do count. And if you're going to tell me Asami Dina that you don't need a pasuk, you can know it logically that you count, because since it's Tameh, Mishkav Moshav, you're going to count 7 days, like we said earlier. Says the Gemara the same thing. Shomeres Yom Keneged Yom Tochiach. That's not true, because we find the case by a woman of Shomeres Yom Keneged Yom that she's Tameh Mishkav Moshav and she doesn't count. And if you're going to tell me that you don't need the word mizovo, I'm saying that you need mizovo and include. Why did the pasuk say mizovo? It could have just been quiet. Mi boile mizovo v'lo minigo. For like yesterday we learned mizovo minigo. The Bach adds in. that you count 7 days once you're clean from the ziva, even if you're not clean from the saras. In a case where a guy has saras and he's a zav. Tell me that, because imken lichta kura v'chiyiter azav. It didn't really have to say mizovo in such a case. If you wanted to teach us that you suffer, the lishto can be quiet. Mizovo from the word mizovo. Lama, I'm sorry, the lishto can be quiet. Mizovo lamali. Why do we need mizovo? Limod al zav bal shtei riyos. This comes to teach us on a zav of 2 riyos. Sheton Svir Shiva, that we need to count 7. We do need a pasuk. Okay, very good. Done with Zav for this point. Whoever wasn't here yesterday, you can start fresh now. A new Mishnah. It's also a hard Gemara with Mitzorah, Muskar, Mitzorah, Muchlat. I'll try to give it over as clearly as possible. There's 2 types of Mitzorahs. A Mitzorah is someone who has tzaras. I don't like to translate it in English because I don't have a perfect English word for it. It's not a leper. It's not someone who has leprosy, but that's the closest we have. So we'll just call it a Mitzorah. There's 2 types. Someone that really has tzaras, that's called a Mitzorah Muchlat, a definite Mitzorah, where the Kohen looked at him and he saw he has tzaras. Then there's a Mitzorah that doesn't know for sure if he has tzaras. He doesn't have all the signs, and the Kohen puts him into confinement. That's called the Mitzorah Muskar. They have different halachas, but they also share halachas. And that's what the Mishnah is going to discuss. And it goes like this. Says the Mishnah, there's no difference between a Mitzorah Muskar, a confined Mitzorah, someone that we send out of the camps, and we confine him, Mitzorah Mulcha, to one that is a definite Mitzorah, Ela Priu Prima. Except that the definite Mitzorah has to what, Moshe? Has to what? Grow his hair, Priya, wildly, you can't shave, Uprima. And he also has to rend his clothing. And there's one other difference. There's no difference between once they become tar. When the Mitzorah becomes tar, then the Kohen makes him tar. There's no difference between him and a confined Mitzorah, except except Tiglachas v'tziparim, except that he shaves his whole body, v'tziparim, and he has to do the what? He has to do the whole, a whole thing with birds. He has a whole procedure with birds. Okay, David. So says the Gemara. Stay with me, David. You ready? Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. It comes out that in regard to Shiluach, sending a Mitzorah out of the camps, because they're Vituma and being Tame, both those procedures, it's not a procedure being Tame, but in regard to sending them out of the camps, they said there's 3 camps. There's the Machan Shechina, and there's the Machan Elvia, and the Machan Yisrael. They go out of 3 camps, and even when we were in Eretz Yisrael, there were 3. They sent them out of the walls of the cities that were walls from Yeshua ben Nun. So in those cases, Zeviz Hashavin says, it seems that a Mitzorah Muskar and a Mitzorah Muchlat, both types of Mitzorah are going to be equal. Because the Mishnah doesn't speak about that's a difference. Says the Gemara, Minani Mili. First line, where are we? Minani Mili. How do we know that what? Says Rashi. How do we know that there's no Priya and Prima by Muskar, by a Mitzorah that was confined? Maybe, even though the Pasuk of Priya or Prima is written by a real Mitzorah, a confirmed Mitzorah, maybe Huadin, maybe it also applies for a Muskar. They has to grow his hair and rend his clothing. So says the Gemara, Minani Mili. How do we know this? The Tani Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yitzchak Hamed Rav Huna. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yitzchak learned from Rav Huna. It says in the Pasuk, by a Mitzorah Muskar, by a confined one, the Tiru HaKohen, the Kohen says he's tar. Mispachasi, he doesn't have tzaras, he just has a mispachas, which is like a disease type of thing that looks like it might have been thought that it was a tzaras. V'chibes begad v'tir, and he washes his clothing, v'tir, and he is tar. But v'tir is a very strange lashon. It means, instead of saying v'tir, instead of it saying that what? That he is tar, v'tir means he was tar when? From before, lemafreya. That's what it means. So tar mi priya ufrima demeikara. Therefore, we're going to learn from the pasuk that when the pasuk says, again, it's a strange lashon, it should say he is tar from here on. But what does it say about Mitzorah? It says, Vitir, he was tar the whole time. So the Gemara is asking, what does it mean he was tar the whole time? In what way was he tar the whole time? So says the Gemara, this is teaching us that a Mitzorah Muskar, which is a Mitzorah that was just set aside, he was confined, but he wasn't a definite Mitzorah, he won't have the Tumah of Priul Prima. Priul Prima, Ufria means making the hair long and rending the clothing. That shows a certain amount of Tumah. So the pasuk's teaching us, Vitir, he was tar a whole time from these two things. Okay. So says the Gemara, Amalei Rava, Elameata, yes, so the Gemara says, Rava says, wait a second. If you're telling me that the Lashon of Vitir, when it says that someone is tar from Meikara, from the beginning, that means he never had a certain Tumah, I'm going to prove you wrong. Why? Because I'm going to show you a different pasuk, where I'm going to find the pasuk, the word Vitir, which you're saying means he's totally tar from before. And I'm going to show you that it can't mean that, because we find it by Zav. And everyone knows that a Zav is Tameh the whole time. And therefore, you can't tell me that when it says Vitir by Zav, that it means he was tar the whole time. So says the Gemara. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, Amalei Rava, Elameata Gabi Zav. When it comes to Zav, where we know he's Tamei all time, Dichsiv, and it's written, V'chibes begadav Vitir, and he washes, he immerses his begadim, Vitir, and he was tar. Hasam my Vitir meikarika. There is no possibility of having Vitir meikara. It's not possible because he's not. He's always Tamei. Elorad, there must be that we see from Zav that what does Vitir mean? It means something different. It doesn't mean he's always tar from before. Rather, Ella tar hashta milotamik icheres. There's one window of time by Zav that we could say that retroactively he will be tar. What is that? Says Gemara, Ella tar hashta milotamik icheres pasid. We mentioned yesterday that a Zav makes things tameh just by movement. If there's something on the edge of the stender and a Zav moves it, by moving it, if you have an earthenware keli, it makes it tameh. It's like he touched the whole kli, even the inside, and therefore it becomes tameh. Now let's say by a Zav, on his seventh day, before he went to the mikvah, he went to the mikvah on the seventh day. Now he has to wait till Shkia and make sure he doesn't see anything more. Let's say he went to the mikvah like 2 o'clock, and he's waiting for Shkia. What time Shkia these days? Shkia these days is what time? 4:20, 4:25, 4:30. And right before Shkia, he sees again. But in between, he moved an earthenware kli. So he had a tumas hesed. But he already went to the mikvah, but then he saw later, and that proved that he's really still a what? He's a zav. He didn't have 7 clean days. So what happens to that earthenware keli in between the time he goes to the mikvah and when he saw? So says the Gemara, must be Amalei Rav El Me'ata Gabi Zav El Tar Hashem L'Tamik Yicheres B'Hesed Afagav Dehadar Chazi. Even if the Zav sees again, Lo Matam L'Mafreya. In between his going to the mikvah and seeing again, it won't be tummy. Hachanami. So here too, by where? By what? By the case of Mitzorah. We're going to find one window of time when retroactively he's going to be tar. What's that case? Tar Hashem L'Tama B'El L'Mafreya. The only case that tar is going to make is going to go L'Mafreya and say that a Mitzorah is tar is that there's halacha by Mitzorah. When he goes into a house, he makes everything inside the house tamei. Now, let's say he went to the mikvah and the kohen made him. And he was tar, and then he went into a house, and then he saw. So then, now do we say now he saw his tzara spread, and now we see that he's a real mitzorah, but he already went inside the house after the mikvah, a little window of time. Do we say that the things in the house are tamei? Says Rava, Vitir is going to teach us that it's not going to be tamei. Tomorrow we're going to finish, and we're going to have to find the new reason that Rava is going to say now, how we know that a mitzorah that's muskar, that's only confined, does not become tamei from priya and prima. Have a wonderful day. Very, very hard Gemara. Have a wonderful day.